The only real God is the one that you believe in. Start looking for the God in others. And if you find you're tuning into a wave, well then I don't know much about the NC.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, friends.
Welcome into another episode of Spiritual Philosophy Chatter with the Joneses. I'm Danny Jones.
And I am Samantha Jones.
And this is episode 102.
102.
What are we talking about today?
This is trust.
Good. I trust it will be a good episode.
Oh, this is a smart guy over there. Yeah, it will be. I think that it's going to be a pretty good one.
Cool. Well, before we jump into it, do you want to talk about anything from last week you might have?
Yes. Last week we did meditation. And for those of you that didn't realize...
And grounding and shielding.
Yes, and grounding and shielding, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you that didn't realize it, Danny was the one playing guitar. We actually had a couple of comments. I didn't realize that was Danny until afterwards. So I wanted to let everybody know that he was playing live, and we did that meditation for you. And afterwards I said, hey, we could do this. We could make meditations for people. So maybe one day.
That'd be cool.
I'll put it on my list of wild ideas that I have that I never get to. But,
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Whoever
and
pointed it out.
There were a couple of people, but then Dustin was one of them, and he messaged me on a whole other subject, and so I want to read this.
Cool.
So this is from Dustin. It says, I wanted to say I got a few good tidbits from your last episode. A lot of what you're talking about, like grounding and shielding, I already do. The part I took away from was the radio signal part. When I explain it to my wife, for me it reminds me of an old TV with metal antennas on top, and you've got to try to adjust the antenna to make the signal.
Mm-hmm.
I just got to figure out how to adjust in. I guess what I need to figure out is how to connect, or the steps to connecting. Well, love the show. I'm dreading the next few days because I will be all caught up with your shows. Thanks again for all your light and love, the love and light you guys share. Sending back love and light to the both of you.
Oh, thank you, Dustin.
Thank you, Dustin. You know what's
nice.
So awesome about messages like that is that it's so cool that people look forward to hearing us. Like, I can't even tell you that the feeling that brings. Even if it's one person, the fact that we make him feel like that. And I've heard that from other people, so I know there are others.
Nice.
But it's so cool.
That's a great feeling.
I love it so
And sometimes
much.
I feel like, what do we have to talk about? Because, when you're in your life, it's your movie.
Yeah.
And to others, it may be, I don't know how to perceive this. Sometimes you feel like it feels mundane and you're not really sure, like, what do we have to talk about?
Right.
But the truth is there's so much.
There's so much.
And once we get started, even her and I mean, we just sat in the garage for an hour.
Yeah.
Discussing kind of like just not even the show, but just life and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of a way that we sort of get connected, I think, before we walk in and kind of do this.
Yes, it really is. It's like a warm-up, and it helps us, to get connected and feel that flowing through us, because when we don't have those conversations, I don't feel it as much like that, But, that's what we're here for, is we want to build people up and make you guys feel the same things that we feel and experience the same kinds of things, because it's a miraculous universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
So thank you for your message, Dustin.
Thank you. That was cool.
Very sweet. And the other thing that I wanted to give an update on, because I said I would do this every so often, is my Moldavite that I just started wearing. On the last episode, I told you guys that I got myself some Moldavite. So this week, I started wearing it. I've only been wearing it for like a few hours a day, because I'll be honest, it makes me jittery, and I didn't realize why I was jittery. And like what I do when I feel weird is I try, okay, well, what have you done differently? Did you not meditate? What's up? And then like, oh, I got the crystal.
The process of elimination.
So I just started figuring, okay, I'm just going to wear it for a few hours a day, and that helps to keep the jitters down while my energy is adjusting to it, which shows you right there that there is something that's happening.
Yeah.
I'm not focusing on it. I'm trying to do the same thing like what I did with with the Ouija board, and that's to, prove one way or another what is true.
Right.
And so with the Moldavite, that's kind of what's happening.
Right.
Now, the story with Moldavite, what they say is that it's supposed to boost your spiritual journey. It's supposed to thrust your life forward. And I will say that this last week we have had some major change, and we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
So, is it a coincidence that I got the Moldavite and life's making major changes? Well, I don't believe in coincidence. Is it the Moldavite that's completely doing it? No, I don't think that. But if it has the energy to move things along, or to make you feel like you can move things along too, is I think what it does is it gives you that kind of energy, because I have had that energy, I'll tell you. Like, I'm ready. Let's move this thing along here,
Me
so,
too.
Yeah. So I think that so far, so good. I think it's really how you think of it.
When did you get it?
When?
Yeah.
It's been like a week and a half, but I didn't start wearing it until Monday. So tomorrow it'll be a week.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right.
So it's, yeah. And I'll keep you guys updated on how it's going.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, I think it's just a multitude of things, but yeah, I could see how that has pushed.
Yeah.
Maybe helped push.
Yeah. I believe, like, crystals, I'm just getting into crystals, so I'm kind of learning more about how they make you feel. But I feel like when you have something that you feel is a protector, or it's there for a certain reason, that it gives you that kind of confidence to feel that way.
Yeah.
So, like, when I wear my black tourmaline, that's for negative energy, repelling negative energy. So I actually visualize that. So with the Moldavite, I think it will do for you what you allow it to do for you.
You set the intention.
That's exactly
and when
what
you
it
think
is.
about it, people have carried around in their pockets like rabbit's foots or good luck coins or some sort of memento that they every day they empty their pockets out onto their table, and that thing goes back in their pockets with them every day.
Yep.
You're setting an intention.
Yes.
And I think it can be done with just about anything, but I think this particular crystal is pretty incredible from what I've heard.
I actually, while you're on that subject, I do have something else, something like what you're talking about that somebody takes everywhere with them, and this will show you that it's the intention you set behind it. I got myself this little angel. It's like I don't know what you'd call it. Like, you could hang it from the Christmas tree. It's like a metal, and it's just an angel, and it says love on it. And when I found it at CVS, and I was having a really hard time in my first marriage, and I just wanted to be loved. And so I got this, and I said, this is going to bring me love. And I've carried that thing with me every single day since I bought it in 2009.
Wow.
And look what it brought me.
Yeah.
So it's the intention. And I'm not saying that if I lost it or it went away that I would lose that. But I really do believe that it's the intention.
Yeah, you set the intention for it.
Yeah.
And that would be the same as somebody wearing a cross around their neck.
Yeah.
Or maybe like the Mother Mary, and baby Jesus kind of medallion that you see sometimes. Even those, I mean, you could just be wearing it saying, oh, I'm honoring something, right?
Right.
And keeping this around me.
Yes.
But you can also set an intention for it.
Yeah.
And that this is like, this can be my grounding thing, or this could be my shield, or this, this will remind me to be compassionate.
Yep.
You can set intention for things. And it's just a simple reminder. That's why you carry it on you.
Exactly.
Like
right.
tying a string around your finger to remember to do something.
Yeah, you're right.
So
it's about the intention.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'll keep you updated on the Moldavite journey.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
It has been so far.
Hopefully don't get too jittery. Don't drink coffee with that stuff.
No. Yeah, you got to space it out a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird feeling. I don't know how to explain it. It's like,
Right.
yeah, it's cool though.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Are we ready to hop into episode 102?
I am.
Trust. All right.
So the reason that I had this idea for this week, we're going to get into more later, but it's because we had some big changes that have happened this week in our lives. And some of them have shown me that I am not trusting the universe, myself, others the way I should be.
The signs and the messages.
Absolutely. I'm not trusting. I'm waiting to see that it happens and then go, oh yeah, I knew that was going to happen. Okay, so now I'm at the point where I realize that I just have to trust. Right. And so I want to bring other people into what I've learned, because this was a hard lesson to learn.
Yeah. And really quick, if I may just interject on that, tag on that, is that the reason we started this is because we're not professionals or, any kind of that. We're normal, average people, like most of the people that are listening or people out there in the world. We wanted to document this journey.
Yep.
We wanted to show people what happens when you do manifest, when you do set an intention, when you do spread peace and love. What happens?
Yep.
And that's exactly why we're here today.
That's right. And so, we're showing you how this has developed in our journey.
We were told, through channeling with your mother, this was a suggestion that she had brought up.
The podcast?
Yes.
Yes.
And quite honestly, with, everything in life at the moment, I wasn't super duper at first, like, really?
I didn't want to do a podcast.
Yeah.
I don't listen to podcasts. I didn't want anything to do with it. I was like, what are you talking about? And I shut her down so many times.
Right.
No.
And it kept coming back.
Yeah.
And
like my blog
here
that
we
I
are
worked on in
almost 2 years later.
Yeah.
So, which is like 2 episodes away.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Wild.
We trusted.
Yes, we trusted.
We were given a message and a sign, and we trusted. We followed that one. And I think that's the reason she's having me share this now, is to remember that.
Right.
That we trusted that move.
Right.
And it paid off. So why don't you continue to trust?
It's hard. It's hard. But let's talk about what trust is, and then we'll get more into the story. What is trust? Trust is a firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. We're going to discuss 3 different types of trust. We're going to discuss the trust in the universe, in ourselves, and in others, because they really all go together. And you really have to have trust in yourself to have trust in others, and trust in the universe to have trust in yourself. It all kind of goes together like that. So something, I pointed this out before, but when I say universe, it's also interchangeable to whatever term you use, God, spirit, whatever you want to say. I choose to use universe because I have found that some people are turned off by the word God, and I don't want to, do that. So universe is the term that I use.
Got it.
So this could be, trusting God as well.
And that's where you and I kind of differ a little bit, which is totally okay. I believe there is a greater consciousness or a creator, something, and I could be wrong. Maybe it's just all of us. I don't know. But
no, I believe that there's...
So I feel like I have to identify that with a name. However, I believe that thing created all of this.
Exactly.
And is it.
Yeah, I don't really know what that thing is.
Right.
I just know that there is a thing.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing. But the universe it has its reliable things about it, okay? Yep. Like gravity, sunrise, sunset, what?
The laws.
Yeah, the laws. We can rely on all of those things. But there's also the unpredictability of the universe, which we see in things like weather or chaotic events. Murphy's Law is a good example as well. Yeah. You just never know when the universe is going to shake things up. But when it does, there's always a reason for it. And we have a tendency to forget that and not want to trust what the universe is putting us through.
Right.
A part of our journey here is learning to trust that the universe is in control. Through the predictable and the unpredictable. The only kind of control that we have is blocking ourselves. And usually, more often than not, the universe will move those blocks for you. The problem is when you keep putting them back and then the universe can't do its job, that's when the problem happens. But if you allow the universe to do its job and you don't create those blocks for yourself, some crazy things could happen. Yeah. But you have to put in the trust, you know?
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Trust is really a practice in patience, especially in those moments in which it feels like you're working hard and things aren't happening or going the way that you would like them to. It's an art form. It really is. Trusting the universe, being patient, it is an art form, and it takes time.
And honestly, we talk about this quite a bit too, is you don't really see, for me, I don't really see it a lot until hindsight.
That's exactly right.
And then I go, oh my gosh, it's like a slap across the face. Like, whoa.
Yeah. And that's that
happened really bizarrely, you know?
Yeah. I would like to train my mind to not have to wait until hindsight.
Yeah.
I want to train my mind to just trust. Mm-hmm. And I do a lot of the times, mostly with the smaller things, like the really big things, that's where I tend to get myself like wrapped up. Mm-hmm. But I'm slowly learning to do this and just understand that the universe has a plan.
Yeah.
It does. Even as weird as this situation may seem, whatever the situation is, the universe has a plan, and I just have to go with it. It's not for me to control.
Yeah.
You know, that is really hard for people to grasp, you know? Humans want to make sense of everything. We want a logical approach, usually instead of going with our intuition. Since most of us don't want to suffer by making the wrong decision, we instead want to take control of the situation too much. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of us have that.
We get in our own way.
We absolutely get in our own way. When we worry and we overanalyze.
Right.
Like,
you know, you like hear those, like, and I relate to them, but I'm not like a huge country music fan, but like Jesus Take the Wheel.
Yeah,
that
totally.
song. I relate to it in some way because you're giving up the control.
Yeah.
You know, we all think we're so in, or want and need to be in control of our destiny and our everyday life.
Yes.
But I think more happens on a positive level when you relinquish that control.
Yeah.
And you trust a little bit more in the forces around you. Yeah. Sometimes you ever been in positions where it's like you're like, man, I'm down to my last dollar. I don't know how this is going to happen.
Yeah.
And boom, all of a sudden, there you go. You're good for a little while.
It's so weird. Just the laws of the universe.
Right.
You know, it really is. It's a trip. But we want to overanalyze everything and play out the outcomes and the possible solutions to the problems, and so we justify all of this in our head.
Yeah.
And then we don't have trust. We just want to have the control, and it doesn't work like that. I mean, it does. You can let it work like that for you,
right.
You know. But it's better when we just let the universe have a little bit of the control.
Yeah, you know, and because we use a lot of this term like our movie, this is our movie. And when we say that, it is. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't mean you're completely in control of everything that's swirling around you, all the energies and, you know, things like that. I guess to put it in an analogy for me, like in a movie sense, I'm playing all these different, I'm playing a couple different roles. I'm playing the director and the main character. But in an analogy, I would be like that absolutely annoying director that keeps calling cut, cut. You know, before he actually gets a good scene,
right.
He's always calling cut, cut. Mm-hmm. You know, because you know you're a control freak. It's like let it play out a little bit, man. You might really catch a good moment,
right? And it is really difficult to do.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna get into our example of what has happened to us this week. Well, let's go back a few years. So I started having visions of a house that we were going to move into about 3 years ago. The first vision that I remember having was when our Great Dane went in. He had his stomach, they attached it to the wall, and he was neutered. Mm-hmm. So he doesn't, the stomach is so it doesn't flip on him, because Great Danes are prone to that. But anyway, so he was in for that, and I was just terrified. I was so worried something was going to happen to him because Great Danes, it happens a lot, unfortunately, in surgery. And so I was really scared. And I kept having these flashes, these visions of Zuma sitting on the step of a pool, just sitting there. And I'm just sitting on the other side watching him. And he looks old. He's got a gray face. And I was like, whoa, they're trying to tell me that he's going to be okay. But what else are they trying to tell me in this vision? Mm-hmm. Whose pool is this? We don't have a pool. Our yard doesn't look like that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, do you take it for is this like a postcard snapshot? Or is this really a real place?
Yeah, what is this? What is this? So I told you that when it happened, that I was having these visions. Mm-hmm. I don't remember exactly when they started again, but I started seeing this backyard more and more. The pool, the shape of the pool.
Yeah.
The shape of the, what do you call that? The awning in the backyard? The
overhang.
Yeah, the overhang there in the backyard had a strange, very strange shape to it in this vision. The pool was a strange shape. And everything about this yard was interesting to me. And there was that step that I saw Zuma on. And so, yeah, for years I had this vision. And then we decided probably about a year ago that we wanted to start thinking about moving. And I started having all of these visions and things coming to me saying, I need to get my credit score up. I need to pay off all of my debt. I need to do things that was making it to me seem like we were going to buy a house. Like they were lining us up to buy a house.
Right.
What happened over the last year, I really, really messed with my own head when if I would have trusted the universe, I would have known that I didn't need to worry because we just found the house that I've been seeing for 3 years.
Yeah, you actually drew it on paper.
I did.
Back then.
I did. The house, it was very confusing for me to see the inside of the house. I had a few things that were wrong. The kitchen was on the other side. But there's so many things that go along with this story of ways that they were trying to tell us, just relax.
Yeah.
Don't worry. We're going to bring you this house. And I went back and forth in my head for the whole year. Are we renting? Are we buying? Are we renting? Are we buying? What difference did it make? You know, I was looking for both. I was prepared for both so that, you know, when the proper house came, that there it was. I did not believe that I was going to find this house based on my visions. I was so scared that was what wasn't going to happen. There were things that didn't make sense about it that do now, but now I see it, and it was so accurate. And if I just would have trusted the universe, I could have spent the last year not in my head all the time.
Right.
At least not about that. But we can apply that to everything in our lives, you know?
Yeah, it's true.
Everything, but things always have a way of working themselves out.
They do,
you know, and they try and send us these tips, these signs, these different things to let us know. Actually, one of the things that helped me the most was our psychic friend Nisha, that my mom came to her twice and told her which direction we were supposed to go in. And it was funny because I was getting off track. I was going the wrong direction. And then Nisha messaged me and she's like, your mom said. And I was like, well, Mom knows. Yeah. And Mom was right, as always.
Yeah.
So if, you know, they do these things. If you have somebody that's like trying to give you advice, you may not even think it's coming from a psychic standpoint, but the other side talks through regular people too. It really does. So you hear those types of things, and I always say, listen to those, you know?
Yeah, there's something to be learned.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep. The day that we went to look at this house, I was a nervous wreck, which is a good sign to me, actually, that it's good, that it's going to be okay. And I hate that, but that's, if I would have trusted the universe, then I wouldn't have been that nervous.
Right.
We got in the car, and I have one song that's for moving, that I call my moving song, that I have always gotten every time I've moved, like to one city to another. I've gotten this song. It's Funky Town.
Yeah.
Who does the Funky Town? I can't remember.
I
can't remember. Anyways, you know, won't you take me to Funky Town? That song.
Chic?
I don't know. I can't remember. Anyways, that's my song for moving.
Right.
And I went to turn the car on, and that song started right away as I got in the car.
Right.
As we were leaving. I just knew at that moment that this was our house. And then when we got there, because the pictures didn't do it justice, like what I saw online, the pictures didn't do it justice. And I was so nervous that we were going to get there and it wasn't going to be what we wanted, because the backyard was exactly the visions that I was having. And I was like, if it's not our house, why have I been having these visions for 3 years?
Right.
Why? You know, so I was so nervous. And once I walked into it, it was like, I just relaxed.
Yeah.
But we don't have the keys yet.
No.
We're still waiting for that. So it's not like a 100% done deal. And we were going back and forth of like, well, do we announce this now or do we wait? And even though we don't have the keys and we haven't signed anything yet, I feel like we needed to put this out there because it's showing you what we're doing.
Right.
And if we're fearful of that, that may not happen, then we're not showing that we're relinquishing this
Right.
trust to the universe.
Right. We're just saying, like, we've been accepted. We just haven't signed the document and received the key. But
Right, exactly.
So we're trusting that this is actually going to happen.
Yeah.
You know,
We're trusting. We're trusting so much that
on the 15th,
3/4 of the house is packed up. So if it weren't, then we're going to live out of boxes till we find another place. So that's what I mean by trust.
Yeah.
You have to trust the universe. And I am so guilty of not, but this was a huge wake-up call for me.
Right.
And I had said to you before we even saw this house that I was really worried about what was going to happen because of how I was going to feel about my abilities if my visions were incorrect. I don't need everything to be perfect, but if that wasn't the house because that backyard was so spot on, it would have really kind of played with me for a little while, I think, of like, well, why? And I know that there's always a reason, but when you get in your own head like that, that's when you start to make problems. And then you got to go, stop it, trust, just trust. And so for us, we're like, well, that's what we're here to show. We're here to show trust.
Yeah.
Trust, manifest, do all these things that you're supposed to do, and you'll get where you need to go. So we're taking you along for the ride with us. So hopefully by next week's show, we'll be able to say we have the keys.
Right.
If not, then the week after, because they said the 15th.
And
so.
there is something also that that's kind of been an ongoing thing for our family that finally came to a resolution, and personally for us, which was a huge I don't want to say a victory because there's a lot of, emotion and scars and things that are attached to it.
Yeah.
But it was something that was important and something that you were shared with, that was shared with you, that you shared with us around the same time.
Yes.
And so that has also happened.
Yes.
And that's a wonderful, just on top of the house was like, oh my God, it's really all happening.
Right. And we needed the other thing to happen in order to really be able to make this move.
Yes.
So it really, everything all went together.
Yes.
It did.
And something like, for example, you share all the time what we do. And, and for me, it's music and art. And music is obviously my passion, my love. And I'm striving to make something for myself in this area in life.
Yeah.
And so, I had a friend, I played in a band many years ago, and I had a friend that used to come to shows, and she would come with her boyfriend, and life goes on, and the band broke up, and I didn't hear from them, and then, introduce Facebook, and now you get connected with all kinds of different people, and I got a message from this person saying, I have the flyer from your last show. Okay, and I may have shared the story before.
I don't think so.
Okay, so she goes, I have the flyer from your last show. And I was like, oh, how funny. And because I probably shared a picture of the band or something.
Yeah.
And so she was commenting.
Yeah.
And I said, God, what a trip. So she says, I'll send it to you. And so she sends it to me in the mail. And it's folded up, and I unfold it, and it's her business card. And she happens to work in the music industry. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And for a very reputable company, and she has a very nice position.
Yeah.
So something told me, hold on to this, because there's no accident she sent you the card.
Right, for sure.
And now introduce the pandemic and life change, and even though we've been working and it slowed our process a little bit, but we've made a considerable progress.
Oh, yeah.
And have put together some really good music.
Amazing music.
So I keep asking Samantha and some other friends of ours, like, Amy and Nisha, what is my next step? I'm nervous.
Yeah.
Like, as much as I don't want to fail, I'm scared to succeed.
Yeah,
I'm
think
scared
a lot of us
to
are.
trust that this is all going to take me to the path, and the guys themselves down the road that we've actually been working towards. And so just kind of going, God, when do I approach this person with music?
Right.
When is it good enough? So I was in here today, as a matter of fact, getting ready to set up for, was it today or is it yesterday?
I don't remember.
I was working in the studio doing something, and I pull my chair out, and this flyer I had saved with the business card on my desk underneath on a shelf, slid between the side of the shelf and a stack of CDs that's probably 10 inches tall, and slid in there. And all of a sudden, it's now on the floor.
Yeah.
But the business card has slipped down with the CDs still against the side of the desk, but the flyer is on the floor.
Yeah.
And I don't understand how that got there.
Yeah.
So I've got to trust that this is now what they're saying. It's
Right.
get ready.
Well, and you asked for signs.
I did, just like the green picks.
Yes.
And like I said, nobody played green picks. I asked for green picks, and I kid you not, I picked them up last night again.
Yeah.
There's green picks everywhere. Okay.
That was my fault because I said there's no way they're going to be able to do just green picks.
And I know Rob is just like
She's
going,
like, oh yeah? What?
trust.
I may not be able to make green picks fall from the sky on you, but
Right.
I'll put them around your room because jeez.
And what a way to make it happen.
Yeah.
You know, it was just incredible. I don't even think I've shared that with Brian yet. I'll have to do that. But
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
So, anyways, these are all examples, and hopefully I'll be able to share down the road
Yeah.
in a future episode that that was a reason.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
there was a reason it was sitting there and was letting me know something. Sometimes those simplest of things in life, they'll be, oh, there's a piece of trash, or there's something I dropped,
Oh yeah.
or there's this or that, and you just look at it as happenstance, or
Yep.
it's just whatever. But at the same time,
It's not.
I tend to go, whoa, and not about every little thing.
Yeah.
You know, if a lizard crosses my path on the sidewalk, I'm not, I'm maybe not pondering the universe because a lizard crossed
No.
my path. But this kind of situation, because it's things I'm asking for,
Yes.
I have to trust that that is indeed the sign.
And you had been talking about the last couple of weeks of how will you know when it's the right time. And we were asking for the signs when it's the right time to show us the signs. So when you ask for those things, you'll get them, but you have to recognize them,
Yeah.
and then trust that that's what they're there for. People can say whatever they want about like certain signs, oh, that was just maybe the wind blew it out. That's just a coincidence. No. Once you start to recognize that these are not coincidences, these are signs, then it starts to change your life.
Right.
We went to Florida, we got married at Disney World, and I was a little bit nervous. I hadn't flown in a while. And when I got on the plane, I sat down and reached, for whatever reason, reached into not my seat back pocket, but yours, and pulled out a Dutch cookie. Of all things for me to pull out was a stroopwafel. And I was like, and my grandma had just died 5 days earlier, and she was Dutch. And I was like, that's Kitty's way of saying, I'm here, enjoy your trip, relax.
Right.
So they'll do those types of things too. They're not coincidences.
Right.
You just have to trust.
Right.
You
You have to
really
make
do.
that connection.
You make the connection,
And then
accept
trust
it, and
that
trust.
that is,
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's move on to trusting ourselves, because that's a big problem for a lot of us too. And that goes hand in hand with trusting the universe. Like what I've been doing with the houses, I knew and I saw these things, and I knew I was seeing these things, but I still didn't trust myself that I was actually seeing these things or that these were right, because I am a fairly new psychic. I've communicated with animals my whole life, but I've only known about my psychic abilities for 3 years.
Right.
So just now, my visions are starting to really start to play out here. So I'm learning to trust myself as well as trust the universe, and it is not easy. Trusting yourself means being able to do the kinds of things, kind things for yourself without judging yourself too hastily. Okay, you can't judge yourself. That's the key point. When we judge ourselves, then we judge others. It's just how it goes. We try and make ourselves feel better. Do you know what I mean? We end up judging others because it helps us feel better about ourselves. But really, if we were just easier on ourselves, and then we'd be easier on other people. I've found that to be huge with me. Like now, when somebody does something that maybe would have hurt my feelings, once upon a time, or it's just something dumb, I try and see it more from their point of view, because I don't want to be judged if I did something stupid, because I make plenty of stupid mistakes and do stupid things. So, you have to be giving somebody else in that area and more understanding that makes you more understanding to yourself as well, if that makes sense.
Right.
I'm rambling now.
I understand.
So this is based on your relationship with yourself. Before you can really learn to trust others, you need to learn to trust yourself.
Yes.
Building this trust in yourself can boost your decision-making skills and self-confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Trusting yourself isn't about eliminating self-doubt or becoming fearless, because you're never going to be fearless. I don't think that's possible for any of us. I wish it was, but it's about reclaiming the power behind those fears, taking the power back, not allowing the worries and the fears to consume us.
Yeah.
And that's really hard.
It is.
Yeah. But we have to learn that, we have this trust in ourselves, then these other issues kind of tend to fade away. We don't have so much fear because we know we're in control.
Right.
If you don't think that you're in control of your own life, then you're going to have probably a lot of fears there
I think
too.
so many people walk around in this life just fearing death because they don't trust that there's anything after. They think we all equate it as the end. No. Death is just what happens when we leave here.
That's right.
But it's not the end. And
It's not.
I trust that with every fiber in my body.
Yeah, me too. That I can say.
It's
I
not
definitely.
the end. And at first I was a little bit, I just wanted to know I was going somewhere good.
Yeah.
I was a little bit bummed out when I realized, I might have to do this again. And then I realized, well, that explains why I'm so freaking tired.
Because I've done this for a gazillion years. Yeah.
Yeah, but, at the same time, I thought, you know what? That is the best news. And I think that's the best news in most religions and anything is that it's not the end, you guys.
Right.
And I trust that beyond anything else.
Me too.
I have no doubt in my mind. I wish I could apply that now to the everyday kind of life, And I'm working on that to try to apply that more and just trust that you are on the path that you should be.
I think it takes time, just like anything else. Like, you didn't just the first day that we started talking to dead people, you weren't just like, I'm convinced.
Right.
It took a little bit of time for you to be like, whoa, this is actually really happening. Mm-hmm. And so with everything, it just takes time. And I think that there will come a time where we won't have that kind of doubt because we've built it.
Yeah.
And we see that we can trust the universe. And if we can trust the universe, we can trust ourselves.
Yeah.
And what we see and what we believe. Yeah. But you have to get real with yourself, because one of the things that I did when I first started learning about my abilities is I didn't trust. Well, I trusted what I was getting, but then I stopped it there. I've told you this. Mm-hmm. So I would, there was one night that we went out to dinner and we were going to my mom's favorite restaurant. It was either the anniversary of her death or her birthday. And so I really wanted to go there. And on the way there, I heard, don't go there. My mind immediately goes to the negative. It immediately goes to, we're going to be in an accident, so the house is going to catch fire, something's going to happen, I need to get home. And I start panicking, okay? Right. Well, all it turned out to be was that the food wasn't that great. And they were saying, go somewhere else. Yeah. Now I've learned when one of those comes in to listen to myself, to trust that message coming in, trust that I'm seeing and feeling the right thing.
Right.
And that really has helped me to make those visions progress and to understand them better.
Yeah.
You really, especially in this work, you have to learn to trust yourself more.
Yeah.
That's been, it's been hard for me, but I'm learning that. And I think that we'll both get to the point one day where we really trust ourselves intuitively enough to just be like, we get it.
Yeah.
No doubts.
Yeah.
No worries.
Well, and even in the sense of when I think about that, going, okay, so when I die, if I trust that I'm going somewhere else, it's not the end.
Right.
Then I have to question, well, why the heck am I here then? Mm-hmm. So I have to trust on top of that there's a greater plan.
Right.
That I'm really here to learn something for the moment, for the life, for the time. And then when the transition comes, then that's what's that for that time.
Yeah.
And if I come back, it's the same thing. It's we're testing ourselves.
Yes.
Each time we come back is, can you trust?
That's right.
Can you trust?
And it's hard. It's not easy, especially if you've been hurt in the past. And, we'll get into trusting others later. But, if you've done something, a lot of people, you do something stupid, and then it kind of breaks your trust with yourself. Yeah. That you're like, well, what kind of person am I,
Oh, I've done plenty of stupid stuff.
Me too. But you got to get back on that horse of that's not who I am, and,
Right.
Trust yourself again.
Yeah.
And it's not easy, but we can all do it,
Right.
So how do we trust ourselves? Well, first of all, we have to be ourselves. And that can be really difficult. A lot of people don't want to actually face who they are. But if
Right.
you're not able to be you with you, how can you ever be you with anybody else? You know what I mean?
Right.
So that teaches you who you are and to trust yourself,
Yeah.
right? The more genuine you can be with yourself, the more you will learn about yourself. And this helps you to learn how you really feel and what you really want, and rather than doing what you think you should be doing,
Yeah.
which is an important part of learning to trust yourself and your path.
Yeah.
Enjoy alone time. A lot of people don't understand why I like to be alone, but I like to spend time by myself because it's my peace time, the time that I can learn the most about myself. I love our deep conversations, and I get a lot of stuff from our deep conversations or ones I have with other people. But the time that I do the most work on myself is when I'm alone, and I can really get down deep into the problems, my issues, or whatever it is. Not even just that,
Right. Yeah. It's
so,
important.
Yeah. If you're always worrying that you may do something wrong, and a lot of people are like this, or say something stupid, then you have no faith in your words. So by spending time alone, you will get to know your true, authentic self. This will just naturally make you more comfortable with yourself and your opinions.
Right.
And when you can be more comfortable with yourself, then you're more, comfortable in other areas as well.
Yeah.
Step out of your comfort zone. If you don't know yourself, if you don't trust yourself, if you just, this is a great way, really, stepping outside of your comfort zone and learning who you are. It's not usually the outside world that holds us back. It's our perception of ourselves, really.
You're right.
And the boundaries and the walls that we put up. And that's what stops us from achieving our goals. So by trying new things and challenging our whatever you want to call it, what we've always known, by challenging all of those things, then we learn what we really like and learn how strong we are and, who we are.
It's true.
That's very important along the journey. Very much so. You have to also, I said this briefly, is to give yourself time to grow. It doesn't happen overnight. Don't think you're going to be one person one day and one the next. It takes time.
And if you've made mistakes, you got to forgive yourself before you can trust yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
So, and that goes with any type of trust, with any relationship or anything, with another person, especially. But yeah, I mean, it's important. You got to take it easy on yourself and let yourself, but set your intention.
Right.
It's kind of all connected. You have to sit down and really mean it, set the intention, and then trust that you'll be shown, and you will be shown.
Yes, that's exactly.
But take the time to slow down a bit so you recognize those things. Because sometimes we get caught up in life in general, and we're not slowing down enough to pay attention.
That's right.
And I think the pandemic came here for that reason, if not solely for that reason, but maybe for many reasons.
Yeah.
But it was a way to shake everybody up, to make everybody look at their own life and what's really important.
Absolutely, it was.
Yeah.
I believe that. So let's see, what else? Be vulnerable and enjoy it. Because if you can be vulnerable and accept your faults and what other people may say, then you can really accept anything. You can trust. That's a big part of trusting yourself, is being vulnerable. If you always have that wall up, how does that work?
Yeah, there's a risk in everything.
There is, yeah.
When you decided to come to this life, you're, in a mortal sense, you're thinking there's a risk.
Right.
But the truth is what's the worst that's going to happen?
That's right. Exactly. So we still have a few minutes. So let's talk about trusting others. And this is I don't want to say you have to have all three to fit together, but I don't see how you can trust others and not trust the universe and yourself. it has to be like together. That trusting others, I think, probably comes last,
Right.
because you really do have to learn to trust the other things. And, there's probably some people that are like, well, I trust others. Most people that I know have one form of trust issues or another, whether it's from a relationship, from their childhood, whatever it may be. They have trust issues when it comes to others. My trust issues were very much with men, in the way that until I was with you, and actually this has really only hit me over the last couple of years, I actually believed that men were not ever really in relationships because that's where they wanted to be. I felt that I was taught that that's where they were supposed to be. And that they maybe didn't even really want kids, but that's what you do. You have kids. This was my perception of men. I was taught not to trust men through their actions, through things I heard, through things I saw. So for me, I had to learn to trust that there are men that actually aren't like that.
Right.
And I've learned that. And it's a kind of a cool wake up call.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure there's other girls out there with daddy issues that are like, oh, I get that.
Right.
You just don't understand how, all you know are men that, well, my grandfather was a good man, but the rest of what you know is just men that show you that they just don't care,
Yeah, I mean, even me as a man, I've made dumb mistakes
we all make mistakes.
in relationships. But I will say, and I also have my own issues, particularly kind of more like abandonment type of things.
Yeah.
So for me to finally find a relationship where I feel like, wow, this person isn't going to walk out.
Yes.
This is great, And sometimes you don't, because of what you're used to and how you grew up, you don't know how to accept that at first.
That's right.
And that took me some time to kind of just relax, settle in.
Yep. For both of us.
Yeah.
It did. We both brought to this relationship our baggage. I have abandonment issues, but they're kind of different from yours. They're more like along those daddy lines. But I come into a relationship with not a lot of trust in men, figuring that you don't want a relationship, that, that's not how this is going to go. And, all my baggage, and then you've got yours. And we had to find a way to get past all of that baggage and trust each other. Right. And it didn't happen right away. We had to learn about each other and grow together in order to really trust each other.
But the truth of that is, even before we were reconnected, we were asking for this to be brought to our lives. We were searching for... Neither one of us knew that right away.
Right.
And as you get to know each other, then you kind of settle, put your walls down, like you were saying.
Right.
Then you start to see that. Okay,
yes.
I can relax because I see this person's in it.
Right.
For the long haul.
Right. And, a lot of people believe that that's not out there either. I mean, really, I was kind of there because every guy that I had dated after my divorce was just... Sorry if any of them are listening, but one scumbag after another. It was just like, what is out here? Are these the rejects? Like, what's happening? So I was just at this point where I was like, I'm just not going to really find somebody that I can take seriously, and that's okay. I wasn't expecting anything, but that was my damage that was causing that,
Right.
And it's hard. And I know a lot of women that are the same way, that, and I hear this a lot when I do readings. There's a lot of people that take something that happened in another relationship. Like, let's say that you had a partner that cheated on you, your first husband cheated on you or whatever. So you just assume that your second husband or whatever is going to cheat on you as well.
Right.
So you're holding against husband number 2 what husband number 1 did.
Right.
I see that so much. You have no idea.
Yeah, that's like bringing in previous baggage from a previous relationship, which we all bring baggage from our lives and things, but treating somebody like that's not fair.
And I'm not going to say that I've never done that, because I have, but I've learned through this, through my abilities and what I see, that this is very, very common.
Yeah.
And I understand what it is now. It's us. It's what other people have done to us. We can't take on to the next person, because that's just hurting that relationship with that person. We're not giving them the opportunity to show us who they actually are, because we're imagining that they're like that other person. And I had a relationship after my divorce that was an absolute nightmare. And that was the most damaging relationship that I have to date. and I still will sometimes say something to you and expect you to react the way that he did because of the trauma that was caused to me. That is common. And so that it's not like I'm holding that against you. I immediately go, no, he's not like that.
Right.
But there's a lot of women that would take it and be like, well, my ex reacted this way, so I'm not going to do that with this person.
Right.
Like, I wasn't allowed to talk about relationships, past relationships at all, where you and I, we talk openly about everything.
Or some people might get offended that the new person doesn't react like that. Because they're so used to that type of reaction. I mean, the bottom line is I don't know any relationship, whether it be a friendship or a monogamous or a romantic relationship, I don't know one that's successful that doesn't have trust.
Right. That's right.
You're not going to be friends with somebody you don't trust.
That's right.
You're not going to be going to sleep and waking up to somebody every day that you don't trust.
Right.
It's essential.
Yep.
To our beings and to one another, and it's important. The more that we can trust each other, the more that our connective abilities would take over too. I think. Yeah, they'd be stronger.
It takes time, and it takes letting your walls down.
Yeah,
because if you're going to have those walls up, then you just you can't change that situation. But the best thing that you can do for yourself is not carry that on with you.
And you can forgive somebody and trust somebody again.
Absolutely.
I've been on both sides of that.
Yeah, I have too.
So it's possible, but you have to want it. You have to, again, set the intention for what it is you need and you want.
Right. And really look at it as a journey. Like, I really do. I have trust issues. And probably like 5 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to say that I trusted you completely because I would have been afraid if I said that, that I would eat my words.
Right.
But now I can say that I do. I trust you 100%. Is there anybody else in this world that I trust 100%? Maybe my brother. You know what I mean? Like, we have a small group that we trust because that's what we're taught, unfortunately. I would love to be able to like really trust more people, but that's where you kind of have to find your tribe, because the people that are in your tribe, you should be able to trust.
Sure.
But then you have to learn to
Could you imagine if that was on a global scale, what that would be like?
Yes. Wouldn't that
you
be
could
nice?
go out every day and trust that nobody was going to harm anybody.
Right.
Intentionally.
Yeah.
That there would be none of that. It would be amazing.
Yeah, it would.
If you could trust that their life could go on and you could live in peace, it would be phenomenal.
I wish that they're like how there's the Earth Day where we all turn our lights off for a little while. I wish there was a day like that where we could all just be nice and see how it goes. Like, give it a trial run, because people don't understand the difference that it would make.
Right.
Because when you're nice to somebody, it changes their whole day. And it's contagious. It's totally contagious.
Yeah.
But what are some ways that we can kind of learn to trust others? Well, one of them is forgiveness. If you can forgive and understand that people make mistakes, then you can move forward and you can learn to trust people. But if you're going to constantly hold on to that, and this is another one, is playing the victim, the victim. We all have things that have happened to us.
Yeah.
We've all had people that have hurt us. But that's a part of our story.
Yeah.
That's a part of what was supposed to happen.
Our lessons are...
Yeah. That's hard for some people to grasp. I still sometimes have a hard time with that.
And the truth is, because a lot of these things we talk about and that humans carry on in their adult lives do stem from your formal years that you're sort of absorbing and learning of what it's like to be a human on this planet.
Yep.
The biggest lesson for us is, what do we do with that trauma?
Right.
Do we take it out on ourselves? Do we take it out on others? Or do we try to find that silver lining?
Right.
And trust that there will be a better way?
Right. Yep.
It's tough, but...
It is.
It's kind of all connected.
Yep.
Like what you're saying, I wish there was a day that the whole world would acknowledge, like, a 5-minute, not even that, maybe a 3-minute just silence.
Yeah.
Where you're just thinking about the globe
Yeah.
and all the life on the globe.
Yeah.
And it's like no sounds, everything's off, and you're just quiet and thinking about us as a connected
Oh, yeah. It'd be
thing
powerful.
on a globe.
It'd be powerful.
It would change everything.
Yep. It would.
And we just did that once a year.
Yep. It would. If we all just worked a little bit at it.
Yeah.
But I think about that often, actually.
Yeah.
You know, just a little bit, just to see what would happen. But,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Let's see. You have to leave the past behind you. We've talked about that. If you have such trust issues with people that you just, like, need, like, some place to start, trust an animal.
Mm-hmm.
Because animals, they, you know, I mean, okay, every once in a while, you know, an animal might bite somebody, but there's usually a reason. Unless it's a bird.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get a bird and expect that you can trust that, because you can't.
Right.
But you can trust dogs, you know? It's like, that's why I love dogs so much, because it's like, you just know that they're not going to do anything to hurt you. They're
Right.
just, they want to love you. And so if you can learn that there is trust in the world, then maybe you can open yourself up to other kinds of trust,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
True.
And be trustworthy, because there's nothing worse than a hypocrite. If you're a liar
Yeah.
and you want people to not lie to you, then don't lie to them.
Right.
You know? And I think that was on my list too.
Yeah.
Lying. Like, why do, like, people lie. That's
Mm-hmm.
just how it goes. This journey, this spiritual journey, if there is even a lie that starts to come out of my mouth, it's like, no,
Right.
I hate it,
Yeah.
but it is what it is. You know, it can be done.
Yeah.
Don't lie. It can be done. Why are you lying?
Right.
You know, what's the point?
Yeah.
Right? You're just making things harder for yourself.
Yeah.
So that's places.
That's true.
Places to start, things to do. But there you have it.
Very cool.
There's some things that we can do. But yeah, I think it starts with trusting the universe and knowing that.
There's a reason
more.
you're here.
Yep. There's more to this than what a lot of people think. And
Yeah.
the more that you allow yourself to see that and to experience it, the more you'll understand. Because I didn't understand 3 years ago. It was March 30th. So it was three years ago last week. And it's almost been 2 years since we've been doing this podcast. And life has completely changed.
Yeah.
And if I would have just had more trust in myself and in the universe, then this would have been a much easier process for me.
I agree.
But we learn. You know, we all learn.
That's
And
why we're here.
yeah. And that's why we do this show, so that you guys can see, maybe we can help you skip a few steps.
Right.
Like the stress level of saying, oh God, it happened for them. I watched it happen for them.
Right.
You know, then maybe we can make you guys feel like you can do it too, but you don't have to stress as much because you trust
Right.
the universe.
Yep.
That's what we're here for.
It is. It's a big picture. And you can kind of see it if you squint your eyes a little bit. You
Yeah.
can kind of take it all in. If you stare at one spot too close, it becomes overwhelming, you know, because you see everything
Right.
involved with it. But it's more than just science. It's more than just, you know, my mom and dad got together and they had a child.
Yeah.
And look, if my mom and dad got together and had a child, that child's going to be born no matter what. Okay.
Right.
That body's going to be born.
Yeah.
Because that's the laws of our universe. I chose to jump in that body.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So there's a reason.
Yep. There is. There's a reason to
And
all
you
of
have
this.
to trust it.
You have to trust. We won't know, like, 100%. None of us will really know at all until we're there.
Yep.
Until we go back to the other side. So we have to trust while we're here. And then when we go back, we go, I kind of won this game a little bit because I learned how to trust. That's how I feel now.
Right, right.
I feel like the levels of this video game are getting easier because I'm listening and I'm not, like, you know, going through the maze and hearing turn right, but I'm turning left. No. I'm going right the first time instead of thinking that I should go left first. And that's what happens when you learn to trust the universe, is it
Yeah.
just happens faster for you too.
It is
Yep.
true.
Yes, it's an
And
amazing.
More will be
amazing
revealed.
thing. Always.
And you will be shown. You just got to trust.
Yep.
Well, that was cool.
Yay.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Wonderful job.
I enjoyed it. So hopefully next week we'll have an update for you on our house. We're very excited.
We are. We can't wait.
Yeah. So we don't know if that means we might miss a week or two of the show. We hope not. We're going to do our best to
We are.
keep going and, you know, keep on track. But if you miss us for a week or two. You know why.
Yeah. Apologize for the fan if anybody hears it in the
yeah.
background. It was a little warm in here today, but
That can't be anything like when the Great Dane is
snoring
snoring.
Great
Yeah,
Dane,
but
yeah.
he's quiet today, of course.
well, before we say goodbye to everybody, did you want to share your page?
Yes, you can find me on my website at SamanthaJonesPsychicMedium.com. If you would like to reach us for the show, to send your show suggestions or comments or questions or whatever, spiritualjoneses@gmail.com is our email.
Very nice.
And you, sir?
Yes, for my artwork, if you like it, djonesartcollection.com for the web, at djonesartcollection for Instagram and Facebook. And for the music, gypsybrown.com for the web, at gypsybrownmusic for Instagram, and at gypsybrownband for Facebook. And that's all I got.
Yay.
Cool. Well, we trust that everybody got something out of this.
That we do.
We hope.
Yeah.
And we trust that you have a lovely week ahead of you.
Please do, yes.
And happy Easter or Passover.
Whatever
and
you
all
celebrate,
these
or
things.
happy Sunday. If
Happy
it's
Sunday.
just Sunday, or whatever day it is you're listening. Happy that day.
But everybody have a great week, and until next week.
Peace and love.